Hello, hello, hello. What's cracking, y'all? So this is Aurora La Bendita. I am starting what I am calling Desperate Mom Chronicles. And the reason why I am starting Desperate Mom Chronicles is because I am desperate to heal, to gain understanding, to evolve and grow from the experiences that I've went through in my life. Um, I am encouraging myself and others who will obviously watch or see what I'm talking about to live a driven purpose life. So, and I'm also trying to be an example, but I'm at a space in a time where I'm desperate. Um, if you know me, you know that I am a divorced mom and I unfortunately lost custody of my kids in my divorce. So now I'm in a space and time where I believe that I'm ready and God is positioning me um, to be their parents. And it's scary. And I've never been in this particular experience before, but I'm in a position where I'm humbling myself and saying, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared and there's a light in here. Don't mind me. I'm about to turn on some lights so y'all can see me and all that good stuff. This is my first time doing this, so don't judge me, y'all. Okay. Okay, y'all can see me better now. Okay. And I can read my paperwork. Okay, so I had to take some notes because I don't want to get lost and I don't want to get distracted or whatever. But the purpose of why I'm doing this is to actually have the victory in whatever I'm going through. So, my intention is to be transparent about my journey and my life, realizing that in my desperation to be closer to God, I will endure trials and tests. And at the end of those trials and tests, I want to be renewed mentally, spiritually, physically, and also, in addition to all of that, have accountability for my responsibility and how my life is going. So that's why I have on my Lord, the Lord is able shirt. Shout out to New Beginnings Christian Church and my pastor, Pastor Miller, Pastor Andre Miller. I'm going to keep this as clean as possible, as positive as possible, because um, I want others to be able to relate and understand what I'm going through without having to, like, oh, like she said this word, she said that word. Okay. So, who is this for? Everyone. I believe that we're all going to go through desperation or going through something desperate in our lives. And um, the foundational scripture that I have is Romans 8 and 28. And we know that all things work together for the good to them that love God, um, to them who are called according to his purpose. And I believe that my purpose was to become a mother. And even though the situation didn't go the way that I had desired it to go, um, I'm still living in the purpose of being a mother. Um, so this is for me, but it's for everyone. And I believe that as I go through this experience, we'll see an elevation of purpose and focus on um, what's possible as opposed to what's impossible. So I'm going to be very open. I'm going to be very transparent. I'm going to be sharing my life. I'm going to be sharing like the itty gritty stuff in my life because it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I spent the whole day crying about, like, why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this experience? And obviously, it's for me to grow. It's for me to continue to see, okay, what does God have in store for me? But in that process, I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling like I don't have enough. I'm tired of feeling um, like I don't have purpose or I don't know what that purpose is. But ultimately, it's definitely being a mom. And so I kind of just want to do this raw for the first time, but I would like to like continue my journey with talking about where I'm at and how I'm growing throughout the process. And I don't want to overwhelm myself or my audience. But I want to go from desperate to anticipation, assurance, confidence, courage, encouragement, hopefulness, trust, abundance, victory, transformation, and consistency. Those are all things that I wish I had more of. So that's pretty much what Desperate Mom Chronicles is about. Desperate mom, desperate dad, desperate sister, desperate brother, whatever title or position that you hold in anyone's life. Like, I want us to hone in on what is what is that desperate place and how do we work through it. I don't want to harm anybody with the words that I say, so I will be mindful not to use names, and not to be negative. I don't want this to be a negative thing or a gossip thing. I want this to be a situation where I'm going through experiences and I'm able to show like my transparency, and people are able to also grow from that and say, you know what, I'm not the only one going through this. Like, I know that there's a mother, there's a father out there going through what I'm specifically going through right now. So I just want to basically let you guys know, like, this is not the purpose of why I'm doing Desperate Mom Chronicles. So today's episode is about being a desperate mom and my fight for the custody of my children. So just a little backstory about where I'm at in my life. I want to start off with this scripture. It's Hebrews 13:6. It says, so we can confidently say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me? So basically, what that resonates with me is saying, I want to be able to say, even in my fear or my subconsciousness of fear, that there's nothing that a man can do to me that will stop God's purpose for me, and what I'm supposed to do here. And it's definitely being a mother, because I don't feel like God would have allowed me to give birth to these persons if He did not want me to be there. So this is all a setup for my bless up. Like, I am determined to get custody of my kids back. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a short road to my destination. And I just want to kind of like document that, because I want my kids to see, like, despite the outcome of what my marriage was, really? Okay. Amber alert. Anyways, so despite the outcome of my marriage, I want my children to know that I fought for them. I did everything that I could to get the custody back. So just a little backstory. 2008, I got married to my kid's father. I moved away to California. He was in the military, all that good stuff. And then things fell apart in the midst of all of that. And then in 2010, we all moved back to Arizona, but my ex-husband and I, we split. He went to his parents' house, I went to my parents' house, and he kind of like had, I wouldn't say custody at the time, but he kind of took on the responsibility of my kids, because his parents were wealthy. He had a better living environment for them. So it just kind of seemed right for them to go ahead and go stay with their father, and then I get them in the interim. He also had a car, different things like that that I didn't have yet at the time, that would kind of make it um, logistical, I guess you could say. So, anyways, and moving past that, I ended up getting a divorce like around 2013, 2012, and he ended up gaining custody of my children. Now, in the process of all of that, like, it was a nightmare. Basically, he made me uh, appear as an unfit mother, which is how he ended up getting custody. At the time, I did not have a car, and all of our proceedings were in Surprise. I lived in Mesa. So imagine trying to get from Mesa to Surprise, where there's no transportation, like no public transportation. Um, to get to your court dates. So I'm not even gonna lie, like in my fear of not winning my custody battle, um, I kind of I kind of just let it go to the wayside. So what happened was he ended up getting custody of my children like by default because I did not make it to my court date. And I can, say, oh, well, my family didn't help me, my friends didn't help me get to my court date, but that was not their problem to carry. It was my own. So in my complacency and in my fear, I did not show up to my court date, and my ex-husband got custody of my kids. Along with how he made me appear, he brought up my mental health status, and all these other different things to make himself look like he was up here. Now, we are now in 2021, and um, what happened was is like not even a year later that we got divorced, my ex-husband went ahead and he gave his mother temporary custody of our kids. So, he did exactly what I thought he was going to do with that whole situation. He was hurt. This is my belief in the situation. Okay. So I believe that he was hurt that I no longer wanted to be with him. And we weren't able to come to a common ground about it. So he challenged my character in court. And unfortunately he did win, because at the time in my character and my personality, I didn't have control of my feelings. I didn't have control of how to communicate. I was not a good communicator. I was very erratic and irrational. So when we went to our meeting with the psychologist and all that good stuff, like I got loud and all this other kind of stuff. So of course they went along with that narrative as well. But ultimately, I was just going through an experience that I was scared of. You know what I'm saying? Like this person, it was like his word against mine in that particular situation, and they went in favor of him because honestly, I was a little irrational. So anyways, their grandmother has had care of my children since about 2013, when we got divorced, and he basically left them in the custody of his mom. And so um, he's still not active. He's still not present in his child's life. I do not know where he is, and I do not believe that his mother knows where he is. So now that the little temporary custody that she did have has now expired, she needs my help. Well, I'm not able to get them enrolled in school. I'm not able to get them health care. Can you help me? And in between this time that my ex-husband is supposed to be their guardian, I've been the one in position to help. Whether it have been healthcare, dental, eye, clothes, school stuff. I've had, I've looked at my bank account and there was nothing in there, but I managed to find a way to get the things that they needed that she was asking me for. So I can honestly say that I've been a present parent, regardless of what anybody has said, or whether or not I've had a car, or even experiencing homelessness. Like I've tried to be there for my children. Um, and now the grandmother is trying to get me to sign paperwork saying that she can have temporary custody, and I'm not giving in. I'm not allowing myself to, one, lay down to um, basically this kind of like unsaid power that they have, because um, they are more wealthy than I am. They might have a little more resources than I have. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been up and down in my life, with and without, a lot more times without. But I've always had faith in God that He would be able to provide those things for me. And even now, I feel like I don't have enough, but I know that it's enough because God is my provider, right? So I was going back and forth with my children's grandmother, and um it's really hard for me because I don't understand her resistance with just allowing me to be their parent. Now legally, okay, on paperwork, yes, he's their guardian. However, he's not been playing that role at all. And if that was the case, then she wouldn't be calling me for this or that or this or that. Now I am their mother. However, if we're going to go by paperwork, this person is supposed to be carrying this load, right? But here I am having to fight for the custody of my children. And mother to mother, I just feel like, why are you not seeing that I've grown? Why are you not seeing that? Why are you not holding your son accountable? And I had to ask her that. I said, where's your son at? You know, why is it that you're so confident about this paperwork that you have that says that, well, it's supposed to be like this and it's really not like that? um why are you trying to hold me more accountability than your son, who's not even there, whom you can't call and say, hey, the kids need health insurance, um you need to handle that, or I need to get the kids enrolled in school, this paperwork has run out, where is he at? So um I'm at the point now where it's like, beyond the resistance that you're giving me, I want my kids back. And I believe that God is shifting me into that time, mainly because, um, one, he's not present, and two, the paperwork has expired. And so, with this expiration date, there now comes another transition. And I've just been really asking God, okay, like, where am I supposed to be at? What am I supposed to do? And how do I do this with like little to no resources? You know what I'm saying? Like, um, just being transparent. Like, I'm not good with money. Um, and now I'm positioning myself to say, okay, I'm not good with money, but I'm going to be better with my money because now I want my children back. And they're going to be depending on me to make sure that they have a home, they have food, they have health care, they have, the ability to go do activities that young children should be able to go do with their friends or as a family. I want to be that typical mom that like takes them to Disneyland and all that other kind of stuff. Sorry, I'm getting emotional just because it's like, it's so real for me right now. And throughout all of this, like, I really felt like by myself, um, without any support from, like, I feel like my parents, um, because even my parents have turned against me. Like, my little sister had to, just getting off a little track, like, my little sister had to come and pick me up because at the time I did not have a car and I was living in Mesa. She had to pick me up so I can go see my kids because the grandmother was relaying to another parent that I abandoned them, basically, like I didn't want to be there and all this other kind of stuff. And I can recall plenty of times where I came by to, get them birthday gifts or Christmas gifts and all this other kind of stuff. But like I said, I was in this season where I did not have enough. So a lot of the times I couldn't be there. And on top of the fact that I didn't have a car, the reason why I didn't have a car is because I had, gotten a DUI, being transparent. So all while I'm going through this stuff, it wasn't that I didn't want to be there for my kids. It was just that I wasn't in position. My season, it wasn't time, right? So this is where now I have this crazy faith, right? Because even though my bank account looks like this or my position looks like this, like, I know God can do it. He's done it for so many other parents, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that it's impossible for me. So at this point, I have had to obtain a lawyer. Now, again, I don't know where the money is going to come from, but I've always had the will, the drive, the hunger to do whatever it takes to be with my kids, to have my kids. So, I'm stepping out on like huge faith right now because I don't know how it's going to happen. I just know I'm supposed to get up and go to work every day, you know, make an income, and then, you know, pay my bills and all the other kind of stuff. But is there extra? No. So dealing with like my personal stuff that I'm going through as an adult, I'm going through this trial with being a parent and not being able to be there for my kids. And so it's just all getting overwhelming. Like, on top of all of that, today, my battery died on me. And I'm like, okay, like, it's starting to feel like one thing after another. And I'm starting to feel defeated. And I'm starting to feel like, okay, Aurora, like, is this where you give up? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this where you quit? Because it just literally seems impossible for you to like come from out of this, like, this desperation, right? That word desperation. And this is where like my real fight begins, because I've been so passive about not having my kids, kind of just like like being like really nonchalant about the fact that, okay, well, he said that he could do it. He asked for custody of them, and now um, he has that, but he's not present. That's not my problem, and I can't um, say that I'm holding myself accountable if I'm not doing what I should be doing as their mother, regardless if he's there or not. So the question I had to ask myself was, can I do it? Can I provide this lifestyle for my kids where they each have their own room? I have a good running car. I can fix my car if it breaks down at any point, like, it's like, this is a normal adulting stuff that everybody's been doing since they've been adulting. And for me, it's been a struggle, just mainly mentally, a lot of the times financially, because once again, I'm not good with my money. But that has to change. Like, I'm developing this closeness in this relationship with God that I've never had before. Like, when I tell you, like, the desperation for me is like up there. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not smoking anymore. Um, and I'm praying more. I'm trying to, or not, I'm trying to, but I am developing a relationship with God that I feel is going to solidify everything that has ever happened to me in my life and for me in my life. I want to be able to provide a life that is safe, loving, educationally developing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like my children are going to be able to learn about themselves through their grandmother. Um, and someone told me today, like, you're I'm graced to be their mother. They're graced to be their grandmother. So the roles and what each person is able to offer that child is going to be different. Like, she's not going to be able to tell them um, the stories about how I was raised, or how their father was raised, or why they think the way that they think sometimes, or why they make the choices that they make sometimes. I and their father should be there to help them navigate through those things, because they're a part of our DNA, right? But I want to make sure that when I do regain custody of my children, that I'm spiritually sound. I'm trusting in God and not in myself, because I will fail. I will fail myself, and I'll fail them if I do. But I just I want to have a total like whole and healthy family, right? And because God has been with me and He's sustained me this whole time, I definitely believe truly in my whole spirit that this is supposed to be my time. This is supposed to be where my children and myself, our purpose like collide, right? And it makes me think about the story, or the movie, I should say, Losing Isaiah, right? So if you have or have not seen the movie, just a little backstory about Losing Isaiah. So it's a movie starring Holly Berry, and Holly Berry was an addict. And in her sickness, she left her baby in the garbage can. And obviously, someone found the crying baby, and the baby was then put into custody of the state, and where the baby then had to then be taken under by an adopted mother. And the Holly Berry, she ends up going through rehab, and she goes through her counseling with her what you call it, um, her group person. I forget what the term is, but she admits to herself and to this person that she made a mistake. She did not mean to leave her baby in the garbage can, and she honestly thought that her baby had died. She didn't think her baby had survived that ordeal of being left in the garbage can. So she goes through this court battle, and she's trying to fight for validity of being this child's mother, regardless of the fact that she gave birth to this mother, right? And it kind of relates back to me, like, I gave birth to my children, yet someone else was able to determine whether or not I was fit to do that. And that's the scary part, that someone else can say, like, you're not worthy to do that because you made that mistake. You know what I'm saying? And she turned her life around. She got a job, she quit drugs, and she really tried to transform herself into this mother figure so that she could have her son back. And after everything was said and done, she ended up getting her child back. But the caveat was that her child did not know her. And that's my fear, that in all this time, yes, I spend time with my children. I go and pick them up, and we spend time together. We talk and we laugh. We watch TV. We go to family's house. We go to friends' house, things like that. But do they intimately know me as their parent? And I would have to say no. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know where I've come from and developed into at this point, because they don't get to spend that daily time with me. I don't get to do their homework with them. I don't get to, talk to them about what happened at school, or do their projects with them, just all that intimate stuff that parents get to do with them, like that. I haven't had that opportunity yet. And that's the part that I'm desperate for. And so back to the story about Holly Berry, she is she's spending time with her son, and her son doesn't understand, like, okay, I don't intimately know you, like, who are you? And begins this outward expression of these violent outbursts, because he all he knows is that my adopted mother is not here anymore, and I don't know who this person is. And I don't want my children to wake up and be like, I don't know you. My grandma's mom. My mom is my grandma. I mean, my grandma is my mom, and I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I just want um the experience that they have with their grandmother to help them grow. And I feel like now is my turn to instill values, to help them grow into the human beings that they were created to be, not who I see them as becoming, but who God put the purpose that God put inside of them. Um, so Holly Berry humbled herself and went to the adoptive mother and said, "Hey, like, the baby doesn't really get it yet. Can you continue to still be in the baby's life. And that's basically what I'm asking of my child's grandmother. I'm not trying to remove them completely from her life, but I want her to understand that the the people that my children will become can be better because they have their parent, at least one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand what it's like to be a child. I understand what it's like to be a child who didn't have a mom who was around. I understand what it's like to have my father there. He lived in the home, but he also kind of sort of wasn't there. So what I mean by that is, like, he worked a lot. He worked a lot at night. So when I'm awake, he's probably sleeping, and when he's sleeping, I'm awake. And I love my father to death because he ultimately took the responsibility that at the time my mom could not carry. And I don't truly understand what my mom was experiencing, but it was probably something like what I'm going through right now. I guarantee you. Because I think that in this circle of life, we make repeats of what the people who came before us did. And um, I don't want to take away from her experience, but I want to just give it a little bit of credit and say, okay, my mom probably was going through a lot of situations like myself, like not understanding who she was, um, not healing from the things that happened to her in her childhood that helped her develop into the woman that she was, not understanding how to be a mother because her mother wasn't a mother. And so it's just like this vicious cycle of like mothers not being a mother. And I want to break it. I want to break the cycle of moms not being moms, dads not being dads, because it affects the child. And I don't want my child to feel like, dang, they didn't want me. I felt that as a child. I felt like, dang, why doesn't my mom want me? And it probably wasn't that my mom didn't want me. It was probably because that it was probably because my mom did not feel stable enough mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to actually lead us and develop our personalities that are healthy, right? So I'm going to give my mom that credit. However, I I also don't want to be like my mom because my mom did not heal. She was very mean. And I don't want to take anything that I've experienced in my life out on my children. So I do want God to make me whole in a sense that um, in this process and in this time that I've been separated from my children, I'm healing. And I know that's going to be like an everyday experience. It's not going to happen overnight, but I'm working on it. And basically, the point of like today's episode, this like real raw and like genuine like outcry of like, I need help. Um, I feel alone. I'm scared. Um, but I want the mothers and the fathers who are going through what I'm going through right now to really just know that don't allow the fear and the unknown to stop you from progressing. And I did that really early on in my divorce. I did not try to break out of my fear that I could win, that I could have a victory. Um, Hence why I'm in the position that I'm in now. Like, I'm now having to represent myself to the world, represent myself to the court, and be like, hey, I know what happened like 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. But I'm different now. I'm evolving from that. And we don't have to allow our fears of what we don't know, or um, in my example, not having enough or not having enough resources. Like, they had a lawyer, and or he had a lawyer because his parents afforded him the ability to get a lawyer. Those are things that I did not have when I was going through my divorce. And so he had a lot of advantage. He had his wealthiness at an advantage. He had a car that was at his advantage. And the fact that, even though he lived with his mom and his dad, he had somewhere for them to sleep. And honestly, equally, we both had the same thing. Like, he wasn't working, I wasn't necessarily working. Um, his car was his parents' car. It wasn't really his car. You know what I mean? Like, we really were at the same playing field, but because he had more resources, um, he won. But it was because I allowed my fear of the unknown stop me in my tracks. So, um, mom, dad, like, don't let your fear of the unknown stop you from getting where you need to go, gather resources, do research, figure out your options and your rights. Like, um, because as a parent, you have a choice and you have a right to raise your child, to be in your child's life. I don't believe that anybody can take that from you. You have to give it away, right? So, another point is to not ever give up. And as I'm saying this out loud, for me, that's an everyday battle, like not giving up, um, because it's easy to just give up and be like, I can't do it. Um, I'm not going to be successful at this. I'm not going to be able to provide things like that. All of those questions in my mind that make me feel like I should just give up and back down. And I believe that that's what my children's grandmother wants me to do, by just going ahead and signing the paperwork. But I feel like that's me, like, giving up at this point. It's been about 7 years total, I would say, maybe a little bit more time than that. So, um, with that much time lapse, I'm not willing to sign away any rights or give away any more reasons for somebody to say that I wasn't there, that I didn't want to be there for my children. Um, and giving up really just solidifies the fact that whatever anybody else had in their mind about who you are, and giving up right before the victory just defeats the whole purpose of whatever you're going through. Doubt's going to rise and you're going to lose faith, but in this valley right here where you're like, okay, I can't do this, solicit God's help. Like, I'm not going to be able to do any of this without God. Like, that's just period, point blank. Like, I need God to be the captain. I need him to be the pilot. I need him to be the sailboat driver, whatever. Like, I need him to get in the front wheel and take over because I've tried this my way before and it's not working. Like, nothing that I'm doing is working, obviously. So I'm putting in the footwork, I'm putting in the steps to make sure that I can get my kids back. So don't give up. Another point that I have to tell myself, I'm worthy. I'm worthy of being these children's mother. And just like Holly Berry in the Losing Isaiah story, um, one could say, okay, well, she was a crack addict. She's not worthy of being those children's mother. What if she goes back on crack? Well, hypothetically, what if she does? I believe that if you have faith, if you have resources to reach out to whoever, if you have a sponsor, if you have a group, if you have a church, things like that, a community of people that you can go to and say, hey, I've fallen down. Like, I went through an experience where I felt like I wanted to give up, but I'm back on, this train where I want to be focused, right? We're going to make mistakes, we're going to fall down, but we're still worthy as a mom, as a dad, like, it doesn't matter what happened in your past. It doesn't matter what you were doing. It's what you're doing now and how you're moving forward and your trajectory now and what your purpose is now. And I've let a lot of my past, like, really hold me back from believing that I'm worthy to be these children's mother. And ultimately, I believe that God determined that before He even gave them to me in my womb. Um, Otherwise, I don't think He would have sent them. I just think this is our experience that we're going through right now. And the journey is victory. And I'm going to continue to say victory because um, defeat is not an option at this point. I've allowed myself to be defeated by, the loss that I had in court, but I believe that now's the time that I'm winning. Like, even in my desperation, even in my lack, like, I'm winning. I have to believe that because I've I've been homeless, I've been carless, I've um I've experienced molestation, I've experienced rape, like, I've experienced so much trauma not having my mom. Um my relationship with my dad, yeah, like, all of these factors go into creating the adult that I am now, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to allow my past to dictate my present because I needed to make those mistakes so that I can become who I am now, right? So just understand that you're worthy of being a parent regardless of what you've done in your past. Um, Another point, reflect on your past, but don't allow the past to create doubt. And a lot of the doubt that I'm experiencing now is coming from my past, like, not really feeling like I'm good enough, or I I'm not gonna have enough money, or I'm not gonna know what to say or do when this happens or that happens. Just a lot of the unknowns about being a parent. But what I do believe is that the experiences that I'm going through now and have gone through are going to be able to develop strengths inside of my children. So I'm using all of this to strengthen myself, strengthen my ability to be able to communicate with my children on a more compassionate, loving, um, understanding level because they're experiencing what I feel like I experienced as a child. They don't have their parents. They don't know where their dad is. They don't know why their dad doesn't want to be around. And then they have this mom who is like in and out here and there. And when we see her, we're having a good time and we love it. And then we have to go back home to grandma's. I don't want that for them no more. I don't believe that that was their purpose. I just believe that that was the experience that we were supposed to all go through so that we can grow and learn. And so just reflect on the past as a growing experience and do not allow it to create doubt. My last point will be to seek God in everything that you do. And I haven't really ever understood what that really meant until now. Um, I've been listening to sermons and um, more specifically, Pastor Michael Todd of Transformation Church. I've listened to Anchored. I've listened to Crazy Faith. I've listened to, um, what is it? In the Deep. Um, and all of these sermons have really helped me to ground my ideas about God's position in my heart, in my life, and whether or not I want to allow Him to come in and really just show His glory. You know what I mean? Like, I want God to have the glory out of all of this, even in my Desperate Mom Chronicles. Like, this is for him to get the glory, because obviously I understand that I can't do this by myself. Um, I need my friends and I need my family, and right now, um, I don't feel like I have that. But regardless of what I feel like I have or I don't have, I'm trusting God, because ultimately He's the only one that can resolve it. He's the only one who can save me. He's the only one that can provide. He's the only one that can take something that looks impossible and make it possible. So that is where I'm at in this stage of my purpose. I am seeking God and allowing His purpose and His will to be done in myself, in my children's life, in their grandmother's life, and in their father's life. And I'm just really praying for their father right now, because not only does it hurt me, and it's not even really about me anymore, because I've had to, I'm, I'm, I'm gonna have to deal with my personal healing on my own, but in the process of my healing, I need to be able to pour into my children um, the love that they're not able to receive from their father. And that is something that is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. Like, the question in the back of their mind is always going to be like, why didn't he want me? And I want to be able to rebuttal that very question with, um, God loves you, and God cares about you. And no matter what, you have a father who will never leave you, who will never forsake you, and who always wants the best for you, right? So, that is like basically the conclusion of this first like open-ended like conversation about being a single parent, being a parent who is fighting for custody of their children. I know I'm not the only one going through this, and I know that um, we all need this healing and this understanding of like, okay, how do I get through this? Um, where does my help come from? And I'm gonna let you know that it's God. Okay. So yeah, this is probably a little winded or whatever, but thank you for watching, listening. Please share, because this is going to continue. Like, I'm going to keep coming back, and I'm going to keep talking about where I hurt, where I'm healing, things that I need to work on, the progress of my custody victory. I'm calling it a custody victory because I'm going to get custody of my kids back. Um, no matter what man is trying to do, um, I'm going to have the victory in my situation. I'm going to struggle. I'm going to have breakdowns. I'm going to cry. I'm going to be scared. And my coworker told me today, like, it's okay to be scared, because that means that you're getting closer to where you're supposed to be. And I genuinely believe that. I feel like I'm so much closer to getting my kids back. Like, I can taste it. I can feel it. Like, it's right there. It's tangible. And I don't want to let go. So, I'm basically just putting myself out there as an example of somebody who's just trying to be transparent and say, hey, like, pray for me. Um, I'm not looking for like pity or, um, hand claps or nothing like that. Like, I'm just here allowing God to like use me in the presence that I'm in right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, sharing it after I go through it, like, that's all great and everything, but um I want to share the experience of like the before going through it and then after. You know what I mean? Like, there's praise in all of that, especially the going through the valley part. Like, and just knowing that it's possible, gives me so much more hope than I had yesterday. So, again, my name is Aurora, and thank you for watching my Desperate Mom Chronicles, and I will see you guys soon.